For the first analytical framework we have done, we've decided to use ethnography as a source of an analytical framework due to the participatory culture that it has. So, Ibrahim and I have played the game for a bit by testing the new characters and playing the game and the new maps in the game. And also, Ibrahim knows how to play the game as he has played the game from when it was released. By that saying, I mean Overwatch 1 when it was first released. So he has a good information and a good background towards the game and has an understanding of how the game changed and how it improved at the end and how it also did not improve. Anyways, Ibrahim and I started playing the game together when we first got into the group. The game did have a couple of bugs when it was released. Although from merging from the new game, there were more characters, new ones that were way too overpowered when playing against them, which are metas. We also found out that many people that used to play Overwatch 1 went back to playing the game since they don't have major changes to the game by removing the tank, which is also an old meta in Overwatch 1. They made the game from a 6v6 to a 5v5 in the new game. Also, we did encounter a hacker whilst playing the game, and it did make us more aware towards the fact that because the game is free, this is going to motivate for more hackers, and also this is going to be a shame towards the new game. Although we are hoping for more patches and more updates in order to avoid these hackers. But of course, since the game is free, hackers will become more motivated towards using their hacks and ruining the fun for others. Anyways, another point that Ibrahim noticed in the game is that there were no servers in the game anymore, in the sense you can't customize which servers you play on, unlike the first game. Due to this, there's less customizability towards which servers you want to play. For example, if you want to play with someone abroad in the sense of a different continent in a different server, that would cause for more difficulty and cause some ping issues, which will cause some lag. And this would be, of course, unsatisfactory. So, as for our second analytical framework, we have decided to use multimediality. Multimediality is basically the combination of images, text, video, sound, etc. within our podcast. So we have decided to use that. So in order to do that, we had to ask permission from our professors to use the media studio for our podcast. This way, we had access towards all the professional equipment, such as professional camera, the lights, the professional microphones, in order to execute our podcasts in a more professional manner. So, with that being said, we went to the professor and we asked, and we had to book the studio for that time we had requested, and we had to learn on how to use the equipment in order to use it properly so our podcast can be filmed well. At first, we did have difficulties connecting them to our laptop because we barely had information and barely had history towards using these equipments, although we did get a hang of it as our professor, Mallory, did help us. So we set up the professional lights. We had 2 lights towards us, and we did it perfect level so that we would not be blinded by it, and neither does our audience when they view the podcast. And we also did have a couple of setbacks since we had another guest in the room that told us the lighting was not perfect. So we used the information from our friend who was helping us setting up the equipment and viewing our filming production to get the best possible experience we could deliver towards the use of the feedback we have received from him. So other than that, we have edited the camera settings in order to make it somewhat professional for our viewers whilst filming. And also, we figured out that the best way to engage with our audience is by being more interactive. And this multimediality does really help towards our podcast. So this is why this is our second analytical framework. And last of all, the last analytical framework we have decided to use was feminism. In the gaming industry in general, women are not looked as good players, but many would be surprised as to how much women in the gaming industry knows how to play professionally. If women would be the ones dominating the gaming industry, then we would believe that no male player would be in the top 10% of the game. Also, the game does have a lot of male gazing, in particular towards games in general, such as Lara Croft, but especially as well as our game that we have decided to pick, Overwatch. Male gazing is basically making characters, female characters, um, sexualized, and many of the male audience interact with that game rather than the male audience interacting with the game because they love it. We do believe that the game needs to be worked on by desexualizing some characters in the game, like such as the female characters that are being sexualized. A reason we believe that Blizzard is sexualizing the game is when some rumors turned out to be true at the end, when some woman that worked in Blizzard headquarters came out to say that they have been harassed by people in the Blizzard headquarters due to sexual harassment. And that might be a point to prove to us that Blizzard does male gaze their audience, and this is, of course, very wrong.